I hope everyone is okay. I'm okay myself. So today we are going to talk about the political situation in the country. It's saddening. It's not good. The amount of vitriol that is flying around, of course, from both the government side and the opposition side. Opposition being the erstwhile deputy president Gachagua, which is ironical considering. I mean, if somebody told you this, that Gachagua would be at this point in time 2 years ago, you won't believe it. You won't believe it. How he was badmouthing the then candidate Raila Odinga and of course the former opposition boss. You won't believe. Now he's the face of the opposition. The irony is really out there. So I think it's a foregone conclusion that the that the current government is not going to break the ceiling relative to performance. We are not going to see any developments, which is sad considering the private enterprise, private sector is really at a bad place. Businesses are not really doing well, and inflation is high. The essence of government is to provide a conducive environment for the private sector and its citizens at large to thrive. For people who are doing business should thrive. Basically, the private sector. It's not for government to provide jobs for people. So the people who work in public sector, it's to run the government, but not to create. It's not government policy that they create jobs for people. So time is running out, and the opposition is ratcheting up the rhetoric and vitriol, sorry. Which means the next elections have begun in earnest. Sad, but we are stuck in perpetual political campaign cycles. We elect a president in office, we don't give them time to work, and then in fact, the only time, it's like they're usually given a month or two, even a year is long, and then we just resume the political campaigns, which is it's very sad. It's very sad. So we are caught in a perpetual political campaign cycle, leaving no time for the sitting president and his cabinet to implement their policies. The president himself, the current president, President Ruto, is guilty of this. He did the same to President Uhuru Kenyatta, his predecessor. You can remember, and it's said that Ruto was actually in that government. At least in this case, he's pushed Gachagua out of the government. Now Gachagua is getting back in kind. So it works like dominoes. All the pieces must fall to the last in order for a reset. We must really get back to what in political science we call a critical juncture. So there's a positive critical juncture or a negative critical juncture, but let's hope for a positive critical juncture. It's a point in time when something that was not foreseen happens in a political in a political system or in the economic system of a country, that it makes for sudden changes in the way people approach their politics, their economics, and maybe and their social and the social aspect of the society. So let's just hope. It's like gambling. Let's hope that we are going to experience the positive bit of the critical juncture. It's not a given that it's going to happen, but we only hope. It is like hoping that a president, that we elect a person in 2027 who has the best interest of the country at heart. Now, it's sad that we don't know whether Ruto himself had the best interest of the country at heart, because the amount of vitriol, the bad mouthing that is going around and forcing him to start defending himself, thereby making him start campaigning instead of delivering for the country. It's very sad. So fundamentally speaking, the country has to have had enough of the shenanigans of the political class. Lazima, we must be fed up. Lazima tukue. We've gotten to that point that we are saying no. We don't care whether what somebody's tribe is. We're just looking for a person who is competent enough, or a person who at least has the best interest, or seem to have the best interest of the country at heart, because you can't measure somebody's heart to know whether they have the best interest of the country at heart until you give them the opportunity to work and see, of course, until you see the results of their work. So that is where we are. But with what's still going on, I don't think we are there yet. As you can see that Gachagua, Kikuyus are coalescing now around Gachagua. Something I think Ruto underestimated Gachagua in. But Gachagua is a good politician. He's got a simple, he's had a seamless transition from the deputy president's office to now the opposition, playing the opposition, which I think President Ruto did not foresee. They underestimated him. The best thing he would have done, and not the best thing, I'm not sure if it's the best thing, but President Ruto, the erstwhile president, Kenyatta, Uhuru Kenyatta, himself was so livid, he didn't dare push Ruto and his men out of the previous government, purportedly because Ruto had penetrated Mount Kenya so much, their legislators, and of course even at the community level. So President Uhuru did not dare push his deputy president, the then deputy president Ruto, out of his government. Something that Ruto has done to Gachagua. But it's also commendable that a president can take that stance. I mean, we elect a president to perform. We don't. We expect him to perform. He shouldn't be sabotaged by his own administration, his own executive, or members of the or part of the members of the executive, like the deputy president was doing. So Gachagua being who is, well, you can argue, of course, politics is local. You must first have your base, and your base is always your ethnicity. That is who you run to first build up your foundation, and then with that you go to the national level to bargain to get some political power. So Ruto telling us that is tribal is being disingenuous. Luos are still beholden to their demigod Raila Odinga. They're reeling from his fresh in mind loss in the last general elections, and of course this is coupled with the loss at the AUC. Raila is not my cup of tea. I'm sorry for people who love Raila, but he's not my cup of tea because his track record stinks. This guy was Kibera MP for about 2 decades, and nothing's changed in Kibera. In fact, if you want to understand the situation in Kibera, there's a concept that I'll share with you tomorrow called the Cobra effect. Then you'll understand why problems or good intentions don't solve problems. You can come up with a lot of stuff to try, or a lot of programs to try to uplift people in the slums and make their lives better, but you can never eradicate the problem, because good intentions don't solve problems. So I'll share with you, I'll share that concept with you tomorrow. It's sad, but Raila is a loser. Ruto himself is still beholden to his tribes members. They worship the guy. They love him. Well, I would be guilty of the same. or okay, I'm not sure. But if a member of my tribe was sitting in State House, but not performing, I think I'm indifferent. I'm not sure. Maybe I should wait to get there before I comment. I won't. Then I'll be judging. If I comment now, I'll be judging President Ruto and his tribesmen. So for us to have some solutions, for us to get some solutions, we must start conversing with and not talking at one another. The problem with the Kenyans, we never really converse. We are just talking at one another. You're just telling your side of the story. You're never interested in hearing the other party's side of the story. So we should get to a point where we start listening keenly to the other people, so that we get what really disturbs them about us, and vice versa. We should start conversing, and of course, communication for everybody who knows this. Communication is the first step. No wonder they always bring these programs of dialogue whenever a government has failed, or when they want unity, or pretending, the political class, to propound unity. They usually hold a few dialogues here and there to cheat us out of our misery, so that we would think that the government is becoming united, and they are going on together. So that marks the end of my assessment of the political situation in Kenya. But I think there's a segment that is coming that will revolve majorly around Rigathi Gachagwa's interview at KTN a few days ago. So tune in for that.